turned around and he said at a meeting in N.S.W, and I swear till I die, he said this, I'm going to give you people a lesson in politics. This is at a meeting in Denny at a sawmill. The Greens hold 15% of the vote. We need the vote to stay in power. They also want a significant national park and they want it in Redgum. That's what it was about. So it didn't matter about the science or the evidence or anything that we put up. It was already a done deal. They traded it off for votes in the city.
And you know they've done exactly the same thing in Victoria.
Exactly the same. Exactly. But I think in Wendy Palmer, they're on radio up in Sydney, ABC it was. Well, someone rang me over that they'd gone there spruiting about the industry, the Redgum industry, because of this, we're trying to fight it to get it back open. Well, they got paid out $96 million, and I'll have a look at the tourist numbers. They've now done a survey, the National Parks has done a survey here, and they're saying, our population in the Farra, by the way, is about 800 people. They're saying that we're getting 2,400 people per day visiting the Murray Valley National Park and the one in Balranald. Do you think we'd notice that many people with a population of 800? I mean, you know, what? And that was on ABC radio. I rang in to try and get the truth out there. They didn't even put me on.
So that's not true, Chris, that figure?
Oh,
not true?
Oh, God, phantoms of the forest they are. That's what David Joss called it. You know what I mean? Like, how do we beat it, or how do we stop it, or what do we do? You know, and what makes it personal for me is, because I was never into politics, you know, I just was happy to be working and earning money and paying people's wages and all that. I'm happy to do all that. Is I lost it on my watch. I've lost this forest on my watch. My father never lost it. My grandfather never lost it. My great-grandfather never lost it. My great-uncles never lost it. I lost it on my watch. And that's what it's the same with the water. They're pouring water into a unproductive forest now. When we grew that forest with the water that was available, left over from irrigation and everything, we still grew a forest and managed to harvest and everything. Now we've got to grab all this water for the environment and send it down there. So we're flooding the forest out there. We're destroying something we created. You know, we're growing more fuel load there now than ever was because we're not in there harvesting and thinning it. And, we'll have a fire here one day and you won't stop it.
Yeah.
It'll like you can't leave fuel on the ground and not expect to get a crown fire. It'll just go. You know. Anyhow, I don't know what to do. I've been fighting it now for 10 years, hoping that someone would step in and say, no, we've got to help these communities. We're not after money. We just want a resource back that we actually grew ourselves.
I just can't see it's going to get better as long as we're attached to the city, because it's just so much of the voting weight is there, the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They can literally write us right off. Yeah. And you should see the big fires we had in January. They killed off so many things in the national parks, in all the areas they're protecting. They just devastated it. Incredible. And for the eucalypts, they are literally a weed.
Exactly.
You have to keep on top of them to try and eat them down.
Exactly right. And that's where our people before, like my uncle and that, when the first thinnings came out, you know, he escaped from the war and they used to thin it with an axe. You know what I mean? Like the bush was that young. You know, that's a product of the 1870 flood. You know, they flooded and got away. That's what it is. And then we had a man was our first forester, and he turned around and had a look at it and said, no, we can grow this into a resource. So they grew it into a resource by thinning it. It's man-made. It's not ancient, it's not old growth, it's just a man-made forest. There's the evidence. We've got a map that shows it wasn't even there. There's all this side here, this is out this side, and that's all marked, that's all timber, but that's all box. That's the box you see out there. That's your bush. You know what I mean? The thing is with Redgum, you've got to give it light, get rid of the competition, and give it moisture, and it'll grow. And it doesn't matter whether you try to save a tree for a habitat tree, or like for habitat, or a tree for a log, you've got to save the best tree. Because it's got to be able to grow in the first place. And they've done a thinning trial out here and they're saving the wrong trees. They're doing it all wrong. I mean, how stupid are you when you only had to look at what we were doing and you go, you know what I mean? They think we're saving this tree that's gnarly and sort of, not going to grow. Well, it's a suppressed tree. It'll die eventually, Whereas you save your better tree, it's just like there's science with what we do, It's not emotion. It's just facts and science,
They don't do science anymore.
I know. We're the only. Well, my wife and I. We're the only sawmill based in New South Wales cutting redgum out of Crown land. And I think there was five sawmills. There was 40 cleaver cutters, about 40 firewood cutters. That are out of all those, I'm the only one left. I'm the last of the Mohicans. That's a disgrace, isn't it?
All that regional economy.
Yeah, it's gone. And the thing is, the resource we've cut it out of, we grew ourselves in the first place. Or like people did, or, and others,
Killing our little towns.
Yeah.
And I think, they call it virgin, they keep saying it's all virgin forest, all this bullshit. It's all grown, it's all on the coast, it's been cut, logged twice or three times, grown back.
Tree growth forest is what it is. But we can actually prove ours, it didn't even exist when we were here. That's the difference with us. But, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know. You get to hear all these figures being banded around up in Sydney, like the 2,400 a day visiting us out here. A day! We've got a population of 800. But we noticed if there was 10 extra in the town.
Jim, would you say this is a good example of decisions being made in Melbourne and Sydney that are very detrimental to people in the country?
It's a perfect example. It's just they don't know and they don't care. This buys votes in the city, and so let's just turn the tap off on all these little country towns, all the jobs, and you can get it. You can work making coffee for these non-existent tourists or something, or blow away. I don't care.
And those decisions, Tim, do you think they would have been made if it was left up to the people in the regional areas themselves?
Oh, there's no way. If we were deciding our own destiny, we would keep these jobs, we'd keep looking after our forests, we'd look after our rivers, we'd keep all the agricultural jobs. We know what's happening here. The people in the city have got no idea, literally no idea. Everything they do will make this worse out here. They won't make it better, but they'll feel good about it until the fires come through and kill the forest.
So, every year these small country towns, like we're supposed to be the environmental bandits, but every year these small country towns have fishing classics, right? So people go out there, droves of them go out there fishing on the river, and what happens is the money that's raised in those fishing classics, right, we go and buy fingerlings and restock the river. It's catch and release anyway, but we restock the rivers. The government 12 months later to cause a blackwater event to kill all the fish that we've actually and destroy our trade fishing season, and it hasn't come back yet because the blackwater's not managing the water right. You know what I mean? So we are actually restocking the river with them 12 or 2 years or 3 years later. No, they're watering it wrong.
It's just complete incompetence, and they bear no cost. So they can do all these things. They can make the mistakes, destroy everything.
No accountability is what it is. No accountability.
No accountability. No cost to them. They say, we screwed it up. Well, let's grab some more forest somewhere else. Let's take some more irrigation licenses away.
So no cost to them, but huge cost to the people in these areas.
We're not like. I think Dr. John Williams from the NRC that we only put in 1% to regional economy or something. But if you start taking 1% here and 1%, it's like if you're 1% when you're playing football, if you're 1%ers that count, they win your games eventually when you're premierships, don't they? Yeah. Those 1%ers, because they add up in the end.
And you knock those jobs out, it's a chain reaction. You lose teachers, you lose schools, you lose hospitals.
And what was the total value, Chris, per annum, the value of that?
Oh, it's about an $86 million a year industry.
$86 million every year?
Every year, yep.
$86 million.
Sustainable, renewable, biodegradable. You couldn't get any better,
And they're not there anymore since that forest has been
No.
turned into national park.
No.
$86 million a year
Yeah, gone.
out of the local economy
And now we're paying for it out here. We're being locked up as a national park. So they're paying for thinning trials to happen, which we already know thinning work. You've only got to read everything that's documented on it. So, and then it's an ongoing cost of monitoring the thinning trial, $400,000 a year they're paying to monitor the thinning trial. I mean, we're in a crisis here at the minute. You know, I can't see it getting any better unless people stand up. Unless people stand up for us and start fighting, you know.
And that's never going to happen while all the power's in Sydney. We just don't matter.